So welcome everybody to the Study Abroad in Japan information session. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy um, beginning of fall quarter to be here and to learn how you can study abroad in Japan. My name is Rachel Rigoli, and I was an advisor in the Study Abroad office here at UC San Diego for 20 years, but I recently transitioned to a new role with the system-wide UC Study Abroad program, which I'm going to be talking about today, the UCAP program. But I'm here representing the Study Abroad office, and we'll be discussing how you can study abroad as a UC San Diego student. I will also answer questions at the end of the session. So if you have any questions, just hold them until the end. I'm happy to stay on as long as needed to answer everybody's questions. And if you have any follow-up questions, you'll be in good hands with my colleagues over at Study Abroad. They'll be able to help you and answer any questions that you might have after this session is over. So I first wanted to start with some basic information about studying abroad and studying abroad in Japan. I wanted to make sure you understand that you can satisfy UC San Diego requirements when you study abroad. Sometimes students think they need to pause their degree requirements when they study abroad, but that's not the case. We want you to make normal time to degree. And so our hope for you is that you'll find classes in Japan that can satisfy your UCSD requirements. It is a partnership between our office and academic units on campus, so your department and your college should be a part of the discussion. If you're looking at studying abroad, you'll want to reach out to them and let them know you're thinking about studying abroad and talk to them about the degree requirements that would be best suited for you to take on a study abroad program and which ones would be best for you to complete here at UC San Diego. It's really important that you plan ahead and that you're flexible. So Japan, most of the programs I'm going to talk about today have limited course offerings in English. So unless you have advanced language skills in Japanese or you're a native speaker, you're going to be somewhat limited in the course offerings available to you in English. And that's just the way it is in Japan and with the program offerings. So you're going to need to be flexible. Maybe you have a major where it's difficult to find the kinds of classes that you need in English. And that might be when you pull in some college GE requirements, or maybe you're ahead of schedule and you just need elective units towards graduation to get to that 180 to graduate from UC San Diego. So plan ahead and be flexible. The other thing I wanted to note is some of the courses for Japan do come back to UC San Diego as less than 4 units. So it's a little bit of an outlier for our study abroad options. And the reason why some of the courses are less than 4 units is that the contact hours, like per week, are less than what we would normally do here at UC San Diego. So the most common thing that I see with the unit value for the courses in Japan and when they come back to UC San Diego are they're usually either 3 units or 6 units. And a lot of the academic advisors on campus have seen these courses come back as less than 4 units. But it's something that you should mention to your academic advisors because they may not be aware of it or they may be a new advisor on campus. And what I've seen in the past is departments and colleges combining courses that may be similar in nature to count those 2 courses for one major or college requirement back here at UCSD. So just make sure you talk to your academic advisors about that. The other thing I wanted to note is that the Japanese academic calendar is different than ours. And I don't know if you knew that already, but they actually start their academic year in April, believe it or not. So their spring semester and their school year starts in late March, early April. Their first semester ends in late July, early August, so that's their spring semester. Then they take a break and then they start up in the fall, usually in September or early October. And that fall semester runs into our winter quarter. And so it usually ends sometime in February. So that's something that's unique to Japan. So I wanted to point that out. The other thing that I wanted to point out is that you're not going to be paying double tuition when you're on a study abroad program. So any study abroad program, you're not going to pay UC San Diego tuition and your study abroad tuition. So that's something that I want to make sure that you're clear on. And I also want to make sure that if you have financial concerns and you're concerned about costs and being able to study abroad, we don't want cost to prohibit any student from studying abroad. So if cost is a concern for you, make sure you talk to someone in the study abroad office about your concerns so we can make sure that we can find an affordable option for you. So that's a great segue to finances. And if you receive financial aid, the good news is you can use financial aid on academic credit bearing programs. So as long as you're getting units for your program, which all the programs I'm going to be talking about today are academic bearing programs, you can use your financial aid and while you're on study abroad. The way summer works, so if you're looking at a summer program in Japan or a non-UC program in Japan, that aid does differ. And I would recommend that you attend one of the upcoming financial aid information sessions. My colleague Eduardo, who is our in-house financial aid advisor, he's doing sessions throughout fall quarter explaining how financial aid works for studying abroad. He also has built out a wonderful website on our study abroad homepage, and you can click on that page and read about the different types of programs, how aid works for the summer, etc. So certainly go to one of those info sessions. If you can't make it to an info session, certainly go to our website. The other thing I want to mention is Eduardo does attend drop-in advising, and I'm going to talk about our drop-in advising at the end of the session. But he's at our virtual drop-in advising that we do through the VAC. So you're going to sign in through VAC, and he's there on Fridays from 10 to 11:30. He does ask that you have a program in mind, and he will meet with you and talk to you about how your financial aid package may look for your specific program. And then if you apply when you're getting closer to departure, he actually can provide you with a financial aid estimate. So you have an idea of what kind of aid you're going to be getting for your study abroad program. The good news is there's a lot of scholarship money for studying abroad, and there's scholarship money specific to Japan. So make sure you go to our scholarship webpage on the Study Abroad website that has a lot of information about national scholarships, study abroad scholarships for UC San Diego students. We also have a database where you can do a search and type in Japan and see ones that are specific to Japan. So we don't want, again, costs to prohibit you from studying abroad. So make sure you're looking at all of this information so you can make an educated decision. So now I'm going to talk about the different avenues for you to study abroad as a UC San Diego student. So there's 5 different ways, and I'm going to go through these different programs one by one and tell you what your options are. Before we get into specific program information, I did want to show you, this is sort of just a screenshot from our website. On the right-hand side, you'll see the navigation tool for the student tab, and you'll see a lot of information under the student tab on the Study Abroad website, which I have listed here. But there is a find a program option where if you click on that page, you will be able to then click on the Global Seminars website, the Global Exchange Program website. You'll get to the UCEAP information. Below the Find a Program is where we have information about the financial aid and scholarships, how to apply, diversity and identity. So there's a lot of resources for you on our website. So let's get started into some specifics about UCEAP Japan and what UCEAP is, and then the different types of programs available to you. So the UCEAP program is a system-wide UC study abroad program. So it doesn't matter which UC campus you're from, you just need to be an enrolled UC student, and it's like you've never left your home campus. So it's like you've never left UC San Diego. You will still be enrolled at UC San Diego. You'll be paying your UC tuition. The courses and grades that you receive when you're on the UCEAP Japan program will appear in your academic transcript here at UC San Diego, and you'll get letter grades. They'll go into your UCSD GPA. So it's a very streamlined program. And so if you have any friends or family or, a sister at another campus, UC campus, and you want to study abroad together, they're going to see the same programs available in Japan that you're going to see. And I have the UCEAP website listed here, but again, you can go through our website under Find a Program. You can get to the UCEAP website that way as well. So let's talk about some specifics to UCEAP Japan. As I mentioned, courses are somewhat limited in English, but we don't require that you have prior knowledge of Japanese. If you have advanced Japanese language skills, then that's going to open up more opportunities for you because you would then be able to take courses in Japanese with local students. But we know that most students who are studying in Japan don't have advanced Japanese. And so we don't expect that you have studied Japanese and you will be able to take classes in English. It's really important that you look at the eligibility requirements for UCAP Japan programs, any of the ones that you're interested in. And I'm going to show you where you can see that information in the next few slides. But you're going to want to see that you meet the UC GPA requirement, that you have the proper class standing by departure. When you apply, EAP expects that you meet the GPA requirement at the time of application. But for class standing, let's say you have to be a junior for that program, it's by departure. So there's a little nuance there in terms of eligibility requirements. Now, transfer students, if you don't have a UC GPA yet, that's okay. You can go ahead and apply during the fall. But just know that we will be looking at your GPA after the fall quarter ends to make sure that you meet those eligibility requirements that the Japanese partner universities have set for us. I already mentioned the courses in English can be limited and already talked about if you have advanced Japanese, that's going to open up a lot of options for you. And what happens is you will take a language placement exam on arrival if you're hoping to take classes in Japanese. I tell students, unless you have 3 years of university level Japanese, you won't have a high enough level. So if you're in second year Japanese and you're thinking about, that you might be able to take classes in Japanese, probably not high enough level quite yet. So here's a snapshot of a UCAP Japan program page. I just want to show you what it looks like. So this is on the UCAP website, and I just took a screenshot from the Global Studies Japan program. And I just want to show you on the left-hand side, there's a navigation menu where there's a lot of information, and that's where you can find the program dates, the eligibility, ton of academic information. So when I talked about planning and looking at course information, this is where you're going to do it. You're going to click on that academics tab and you're going to see how many units are required on this program. You're going to see the course offerings. They link to a UCAP course catalog where you can see what courses UC students have taken on this program in the past and how many units were awarded. Under cost, there's a cost calculator. You can see how much the tuition will be, how much they estimate for an airline ticket, how much they estimate for your room and board, and it will give you an estimated budget for the entire length of the program. And then in this red circle is just a summary, a program at glance, so you can see a lot of useful information. Even if you don't want to click into all the detailed information on the left-hand side, you can see a lot of information just on their program at a glance box. So let's talk about the Tokyo programs. There are 4 options in Tokyo for you if you're interested in studying in Tokyo through UCAP. The first one is the International Christian University, and you do not need to be Christian to go. It was founded by missionaries, but that question always comes up, so I just throw that out there. They offer a fall quarter program, a spring quarter program, and a year-long program. And I say quarter because the International Christian University is the only school that we partner with in Japan that is on a quarter system. So the programs through ICU tend to be a little less expensive because they're only 12 weeks in length instead of a semester in length. So that's International Christian University. Hitosabashi is a spring semester program, and again, that aligns well with our spring quarter because they start their spring semester in late March or early April. So if you go on the Hitosabashi program, you can be here for fall and winter quarters and then spend spring quarter and then part of our summer in Tokyo at Hitosabashi. And then Keio University in Waseda, I'm assuming a lot of you have heard of these very prestigious Japanese universities. Those are year-long options in Tokyo. And so if you want to go to one of those locations through UCAP, you would have to commit to being there for a full year. So for Tokyo, courses in English are mainly going to be in the social sciences and humanities. I'm just putting that out there right now. That's what you're going to usually find when you're looking at the course offerings in English. ICU and Waseda universities do offer limited STEM offerings. So if you dig deep into their course catalog, you might find some biology classes, some data science, but not a whole bunch. So I always remind students set your expectations because you're not going to an English speaking country. You're not going to England where you're going to see a huge variety of courses taught in English. You're going to be somewhat limited. So, this is where planning ahead and making sure you are bringing the types of classes that you can get for your degree requirements. You save those for your time in Japan. For all of these programs, Japanese language studies are optional, except for the Waseda year program if you go on the SILS track, which stands for the School of International Liberal Studies. So if you pick any of these programs except the SILS track, you don't have to study Japanese, but you're welcome to study Japanese. And a lot of students like to study Japanese while they're in Japan. ICU, another thing that's unique about ICU, besides the fact that they're on the quarter system, is ICU's language program is an intensive language program. So if you go to Keio or Waseda or Hitosabashi and you enroll in Japanese, you're going to take language for 6 units. So that means you can take a lot of other classes in addition to your Japanese language class. If you go to the International Christian University and you want to take language, a lot of times the language course becomes around 12 units. So that means you're not doing really, you know, any other classes besides Japanese, or maybe you can do one. It really depends on your level. So that's something I always point out, that if you want to do language at the International Christian University, it almost becomes like a language program. And then you can take, if you have advanced Japanese, you can take courses in Japanese at ICU, Keio, Hitosabashi, just not at Waseda. They don't allow that at that partner university. So now let's talk about themed options in Japan. So themed options are where you're studying a specific topic or theme. And you can see from the name Japanese in Kyoto, the theme of that program is studying Japanese. And you would be in beautiful Kyoto at Doshisha University, and you would be studying Japanese intensively. They offer all levels, so you can be a beginning Japanese language student, or you could have advanced Japanese. It's all levels. And then you get to take some Japanese culture classes. So the main focus of the program is language. It does vary on how many non-language classes you can take depending on what your level is. And this program is offered only during the spring semester. So again, late March, early April to late July, early August. The next theme program is Global Studies. I already mentioned it in my previous slide. This is with Meiji Gakuin University in Yokohama, which is about a 40-minute train ride into central Tokyo, so not that far. You can be any major to go on this Global Studies program, but you should have a very strong background in the social sciences. And the reason being is you will be taking classes that focus on the theme of global studies or international relations. So we don't want to put you in upper division classes in poli-sci or econ or international affairs if you haven't had that strong background in the social sciences. The cool thing about this program is your program fees include a field trip to Hiroshima, and the program takes you to the Peace Memorial and the Peace Museum in Hiroshima, because you will be learning about international affairs and peace studies. And Meiji Gakuin does a really good job at integrating students into the university. They have a weekend homestay that's optional, and they have a very robust buddy program where they connect you with a local Meiji Gakuin University student to be your buddy while you're there. Now, this program is offered both the fall and the spring, but I mentioned earlier on that the fall semester runs into winter quarter. There's only one program with UCEAP that will go into winter quarter. UCEAP has done a really good job finding programs that end before the winter break, and that's so you can come back for winter studies here at UC San Diego. So their fall semester starts a little earlier than the traditional Japanese calendar, and you'll be home in time for the holidays and for winter quarter. The newest option is a summer global internship in Tokyo, and I'm really excited about it, but unfortunately, I don't have a lot of information for you. UCAP, their website isn't, it hasn't posted this new program option. It is coming any day now, so make sure you look at the UCAP website. But it is going to be an 8-week internship for academic credit offered in English. They're not going to offer a lot of different types of placements just because they need to be able to place you in an internship site where you can use your English. The expectation is you won't have native language skills in Japanese. The areas that they've told me that they will have placements are in business communication, where you can use your English language skills, nonprofit work, computer science, and information technology. And I have listed here, it only requires a 2.5 GPA for this program. A lot of the other programs require 2.85 or 3.0 GPA. So this global internship option has a lower GPA requirement. So now I'm going to shift gears for the STEM students in attendance. If you're a STEM student, we have programs for you, and they are at Tohoku University, Osaka University, and the University of Tokyo in Tokyo. The difference between these three programs, just to summarize, Tohoku University is offered in the spring semester. So again, you can be here for fall and winter quarters on campus, or a year-long program, and you would do lab research and you would take classes. So the lab research is not full-time lab research. It's for usually about 8 units, and you would be able to take classes in English in addition to doing your lab research. So they offer STEM courses, not a lot, just setting your expectations. But they also offer Japanese language for 6 units and some really fun Japanese culture classes. So if you're somebody who needs to take some like college GE requirements and you want to do lab research, this is a great option for you. Now, EAP is offering a new summer option. Again, it's not on the website, their website yet, but it is coming. And it's going to be, since it's short term, it's just going to be research only. So this is a fantastic new summer option um, that is available to UC students. Osaka University, in contrast, is full-time lab research. So that's what you're going to do every day. Monday through Friday, you're going to do your lab research with a professor. And we want you to have a lot of your foundation courses in your major completed for both Osaka University and for the University of Tokyo, and really Tohoku, actually all of them, because they're going to the professor in charge of the lab has to select you, and we want to make sure that you're competitive and that you may be a first year that has junior standing by summer 2025, but to be competitive in placing you in a lab, you really have to have done your lower division classes and started working on your upper division classes. So I'm throwing that out there. Osaka University, they offer the summer full-time lab research, the spring semester, and then they're the only ones in the fall where you would have to go into winter quarter. So that's something you should be aware of. But some students don't care because they're ahead of schedule, or, maybe you want to do this fall of your 5th year and you're not worried about coming back for winter quarter. And so just know that fall semester is a little bit different, but spring is definitely a popular option because you would only miss one quarter here at UCSD. The University of Tokyo is also a very popular option. I have a note here that there's limited biology options at the University of Tokyo, full-time lab research, and it's summer only. So like Osaka and Tohoku, there's summer options for all 3 of these programs, but the University of Tokyo is not an option during the academic year. So let's talk about Japanese during the summertime. Maybe you just have a passion for learning Japanese. Maybe you want to start learning Japanese. Maybe you need it for your college. So there's 2 options for you if you want to go through UCAP and study Japanese. One is the Japanese in Osaka program, which is really for beginning Japanese students. You can't have taken more than 1/4 of Japanese. So if you're in Japanese 10A, and you want to go on this program, don't go into 10B or 10C because you won't be eligible. And it's a 5-week program. You're going to get 9 UC units and study Japanese. That's what you're doing during the summertime. The other option is if you have more Japanese, you could do advanced Japanese at the Japanese Tokyo program at International Christian University. You have to have had 2 years of Japanese by departure. All of this is by departure. And you'll take 5.5 units of Japanese and a one Japanese culture class that's also 5.5 units. And you'll get 11 units, and the program is about 4 to 5 weeks in length. So I have some good news for you. UCAP is piloting a new virtual drop-in advising um, option for our students, just for UC San Diego students. And the academic specialist for all of the UCAP Japan programs has offered to do drop-in advising on Tuesdays and Fridays. And here's a QR code for you. And hopefully it works. Hopefully with my taskbar, it's not blocking the QR code. But you can drop in and talk to Elaine if you have specific questions about UCAP Japan. You're struggling trying to decide which program might be the best fit for you academically. She doesn't do the logistics like the visa and the housing and things like that, but she certainly can talk to you about the programs in general and definitely has a lot of information about the academics. So please take advantage of this pilot program and stop by and see Elaine if you have specific questions. The other thing I want to mention is UCAP is doing a virtual study abroad fair. It's not going to be Japan specific. They're going to be talking about UCAP in general. So if you want to do that, it's at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, October 23rd. Here is the QR code for you. Take a picture of it or open it up on your smartphone. But that is coming up shortly. So let's shift gears and talk about some UC San Diego programs. So unlike UC EAP, which was system-wide, UC San Diego Global Seminars are our very own programs where you can go abroad with a UC San Diego faculty member. You would take 2 UCSD courses during the summer for 5 weeks, and you need a 2.0 GPA or higher to be eligible for the Global Seminars programs. And Global Seminars for summer 2025, I think they're offering around 25 or 27 programs all over the world. If you're not sure you want to do Japan through Global Seminars, maybe you want to do Ravel Hume classes or MMW classes, you can certainly do Global Seminars, and maybe that's a great launch point for you to come back and then study abroad in Japan during the academic year. If you want to go during the summer to Japan through Global Seminars, there's one option available to you, which is the Genetics, Diversity, and Human Biology. So if there's any biology majors out there, this would be a great program for you. There's a QR code. I encourage you to look at Global Seminars. It's really a nice program where you're in a small group doing excursions, very much hands-on learning, and you'll get to know a UCSD professor quite well. And you could use that QR code and learn, go to one of the info sessions of any of the programs that you're interested in, and the faculty member is going to be talking to you about their vision for the program, what excursions you're going to be doing, the classes, all of that. So now let's shift and talk about UC San Diego Global Exchange. So this is also a UC San Diego program, and it's a bilateral exchange program between UC San Diego and universities abroad. And for Japan, we have a partnership with Kyoto University and Osaka University. And the way it works is you're going to pay your UC San Diego tuition. So instead of paying your UC tuition to UCAP, you're going to just be paying your UC San Diego tuition like you normally would. And you would be taking courses abroad at Kyoto University or at Osaka University. And unlike UCAP, you're going to get transfer units. So because it's not within the way the credit works, it's going to be like if you took classes at a community college or you did AP credit, you can still apply these courses that you take on these programs through Global Exchange towards UCSD degree requirements. It's just the letter grades won't go into your UCSD GPA, and they're going to be transfer units instead of appearing as UC units. So there's a small difference there. Financial aid, you can take your financial aid with you because you're going to be a UC San Diego student. And at Kyoto University, there's 2 tracks. There's an English track where you don't have to have prior knowledge of Japanese, and you're going to have access to a wide variety of courses taught in English. And I have to say, Kyoto has a decent amount of courses taught in English, including some STEM classes. Or the other track is if you have very high level Japanese, you could take classes fully in Japanese. And I know that's not as many students. So the English track tends to be the most popular. It can be competitive because we don't have a lot of spots for that program. But if you're interested in this program, you can certainly meet with Alicia, who is our Global Exchange Program Manager. And their calendar is the traditional Japanese academic calendar. So if you want to go in the fall, you're going to be going October through February. Or if you go in the spring, you can be here for fall and winter quarters and then go abroad. You also have the option to go abroad during this for the entire academic year. So Osaka University is our newest program in Japan. And so similar to UCAP. However, they have a track that we don't have available through UCAP, and it's the Osaka University SSEP. And unfortunately, I don't know what the acronym stands for, but it's really like the social science and humanities type courses. And you can go in the fall, spring, or year. The fall is going to be on the traditional Japanese calendar, so I'm pointing that out. Or the other option is you can do the Frontier Lab full-time lab research, which is identical to the EAP program. And that's doing full-time lab research at Osaka University. And so maybe the Osaka program through EAP fills and you apply through Global Exchange instead. So that gives us some more spots for our students. UCAP is you're gonna be with a larger cohort because we're sending students from across the UC campuses. If you go on Global Exchange through UC San Diego, it's just gonna be a small number of students, but you'll have that on-site support through the university. So let's talk about other UC faculty-led summer programs. So similar to Global Seminars, the other UC campuses run faculty-led summer options as well. And so I always like to point out that you can go abroad during the summer with a faculty member from another UC campus, so UC Davis, Riverside, UC Santa Cruz. On Global Seminars, we take students from outside UCSD, and on these programs, they take students from outside their home campus. And there are 2.0 GPA requirement. It's going to work just like Global Seminars, where you get UC units and UC grades. And UC Davis has offered some nice options in Japan. I don't know exactly what's going to be offered for summer 2025 because a lot of the programs, they haven't updated their website. So I think Davis is updated, but Santa Cruz and Riverside may not be yet. And then the other UC campuses may announce something new in Japan that I don't even know about. So you can certainly take a look at those options. I've had students do the Design in Japan program, students who are like cog sci or visual arts, or just have an interest in that theme. There's a Life Sciences in Japan program. UC Davis runs some internships. The engineering and computer science internship typically fills pretty quickly. UC Santa Cruz offers, if there's any art majors in attendance, they offer a really cool woodblock printmaking program. It usually alternates between Korea and Japan. Last summer was Japan, but maybe they'll be going back to Japan again in summer 2025. And then UC Riverside recently started offering some Japan options as well. So take a look at these other options if you're thinking about summer in Japan. So the last program type I'd like to talk about is the Opportunities Abroad program. And this would be going outside the UC system where you could do direct enrollment at a university in Japan, or maybe you find a study abroad provider that's not within the UC system that offers your dream program in Japan. If you go on one of these programs, you're no longer an enrolled UC San Diego student, which is fine. There's a whole process for that, and you're not kicked out of UCSD. You will be readmitted if you're away more than 2 quarters. There's a simple form you'll fill out. If you're away for 1 quarter, it's easy. You'll just do your enrollment like you normally would. This is going to give you a lot more options than just UCAP, Global Seminars, Global Exchange. It really opens up more options. And you're going to be paying your tuition either directly to the Japanese university or to the outside study abroad provider. So the bonus for these kinds of programs are they could be, besides giving you more options, it could be less expensive, especially if you're a non-resident student looking at Japan. This could be a nice option for you to do direct enrollment or go through an outside provider. The negative is the fact that it's a lengthy process. You're going to be applying outside the UC system. So if you want to do direct enrollment, you apply to the Japanese university directly, and then we have paperwork that has to be reviewed by UC San Diego admissions, which can take some time. So I don't want that to deter you if this is the best option for you, but there's definitely some pros and cons to this option. So let's get into the nitty gritty on the next step. So how to apply. I already showed you on the left-hand side under students, you will see a how to apply page. And if you expand these drawers when you go to our website, we give you clear instructions on how to do an application. And I wanted to talk about deadlines. So if you're a first-year student, you're going to have to hang tight for now. But if you're looking at summer 2025 or the 2026 academic year, this is your application period. So for UCAP, they have changed the way they do things, and it is a first come, first serve rolling deadlines. And I have to tell you, UCAP Japan is very popular across the UC system, and those programs fill. And the summer lab programs fill immediately. If you were thinking about any programs for like this coming summer or next year, you need to be on top of it for Japan. I don't want you to miss out. So you're going to be doing 2 applications. You can start your Trains Abroad application. I think it's updated now. It was supposed to be updated by October 1st. You do that application now. You can create an application in the UCAP portal, an account. Sorry, so not an application, but an account. You can see the requirements for the program, what you're going to have to submit, and you can be ready to go on November 14th for summer programs at 9 a.m. is when the portal opens to applications, and then November 21st at 9 a.m. for fall and year programs. And if you're thinking about spring of 2026, you got plenty of time. It's not going to open until April 15th. Now, for my transfer students in attendance, we know you don't have a GPA and we don't want you to be shut out from any of these programs. So you're going to apply like everybody else, but they've set aside a certain amount of spots for transfer students. So again, if you have a program you want, make sure you're logged in when the portal opens and apply to, because it's purely based off of timestamp, not GPA, not a wonderful essay that you might write, because there's no essays that are required. It's simply a timestamp. So just want to warn you about that. First year students, if you have advanced standing, let's say you're going to be a junior by departure, you got to wait until your fall grades post. So if there are open programs, you can check the UCAP website. They will indicate if a program is still open or not. And last year, I think there were a few. So you could certainly take a look, but you will have plenty of time to apply maybe your sophomore year to go your junior year. So don't stress out about it if it doesn't work out for you to go and you have advanced standing. Global Seminars works on rolling admissions. They open on November 1st and they will close programs as they fill. Global Exchange has a deadlines page. So you're going to want to go to our website, click on students, and then click on that events and deadlines page. Other UC programs that I mentioned, like those faculty-led summer programs, they're also rolling and they will close once full. And then the OAP programs all vary in deadlines, and usually they're much later than our deadlines. So if you're thinking about the OAP route, you can take a deep breath and know that you've got some time. So next steps, I've already talked about that it's a partnership with your department, with your college. You're going to talk to them about what courses are best for you to take here at UC San Diego and which courses you should maybe save for abroad. The DEI requirement always comes up. We want you to do that here. We want you to do your writing requirements here. But there's maybe certain classes that would be perfect for Japan. So you're going to want to look at the course offerings in Japan, look at your degree audit, talk to your academic advisors, and plan ahead. Because it really makes me sad when students would come in, maybe juniors, and they didn't have the right kinds of classes saved to be able to study in Japan. Not that we can't send you elsewhere. We can certainly do that. But if you want to go to Japan, definitely plan early. And then you're going to want to do a lot of research. I want you to look at the different program types. I want you to look at the course offerings, the cost, the eligibility requirements, the dates. Find a program that's best suited for you. And that is the best fit because we can't tell you where to go. It's really up to you in terms of your personal and your academic goals. If you are on financial aid or you're concerned about costs, talk to us. Go to the financial aid information sessions, look at our website, come and meet with Eduardo. There's a lot of information out there for you. And then certainly you're going to apply. So the application season will be starting soon for 2025, 2026. If you're thinking about later, you've got plenty of time, but you can be planning now. So I wanted to mention that we are having our big study abroad fair called Expo. It's going to be in Town Square, which is, not too far from Croutons and Student Services Center. And it's out. We're gonna have tables set up. UCAP is going to be there. Global Seminars will have a table. Global Exchange will have a table. There's going to be a lot of resources and information. You can talk to advisors 10 to 2. So stop by, and we'd love to see you there. The other thing I wanted to highlight is we have a lot of our info sessions during fall quarter. We do them once a year. And let's say you are shopping around for programs and you're thinking about another location in Asia, or maybe you want to go to Europe. Go to those info sessions, learn from the advisors, hear about the different programs. This is the time to learn about what might be the best program for you. We're also doing Get Started information sessions. We have an online course that is currently, I think it's on hold, but it will be reopening shortly. But we're doing in-person Get Started sessions. You can, learn about the basics of study abroad. Hopefully I gave you a lot of information, but you can learn about like things to think about when you're considering studying abroad and trying to figure out what is going to be important to you when you're researching programs. Global Exchange is doing an information session, and Global Seminars is doing them for every single program. So certainly take a look at the what we're offering during the fall. So advising services, I already talked about EAP, having the Japan EAP academic advising. They're not going to advise on Global Exchange. They're not going to advise on Global Seminars. They're only doing EAP academic advising. But if you want to talk to a study abroad UC San Diego advisor, we do drop in advising virtually, and we offer it on Mondays and Thursdays 1 to 3 and Fridays 10 to 11:30. And our Global Exchange Advisor is there on Monday. So if that Kyoto University or Osaka University Global Exchange option really spoke to you, stop by on a Monday. And then Fridays, if you have financial aid questions. We also answer questions through VAC. So you can, at 2 a.m. if you're up late and you want to submit a question, just don't write, a page. If it's a quick, easy question, VAC is wonderful to use. But if you have a lot of questions, we always encourage you to come to drop-in advising. And then certainly go to those info sessions that I just talked about because, advisors are doing those sessions and we're happy to answer questions at the end of the session. So I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.